Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're not looking at a finished product. We're actually going to look at the blueprint behind a massive industry. We're going to deconstruct the very specific, very precise formula that's used to create television for our absolute youngest audiences.
So what's the secret sauce? Well, it turns out it's less of a secret recipe and more of a science. And get this, we've got our hands on an actual creative brief for a show. It's called Whiskers the Happy Cat, and it is the perfect case study for pulling back the curtain on the formula that captures a toddler's attention.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. We're going to look at the whole formula piece by piece. We'll dive into how they design for young eyes, the science behind those songs you can't get out of your head, the simple stories they tell, and the psychology that makes it all work.
Right, so first things first, you gotta understand this isn't just about, telling a cute story. It's about engineering an experience right from the ground up. Every single thing you see and hear is intentional. So let's start where a kid does, with the sensory stuff.
And when I say intentional, I mean incredibly specific. The creative brief is super detailed about the visual style, and there's a really good reason for that. Every choice they make, from the way a character looks to how the camera moves, it's all optimized for a developing brain.
So you see these words on the screen, big expressive eyes, soft rounded shapes. These aren't just like nice-to-have aesthetic notes. No way! These are psychological instructions. Every single one of these is basically a command to the animators, and it's all designed to get a very, very specific emotional response from a little kid.
Think about it. Big eyes, they're easier for kids to read emotions from. Soft, rounded shapes. They feel safe, right? Not threatening like sharp angles. Those vibrant pastels are stimulating enough to be interesting, but not so bright they're overwhelming. And the smooth, bouncy movements, they just keep your attention without ever feeling jarring. It all adds up to a kind of visual safe space.
And of course, the sound design has to work in perfect harmony with all of that. You've got this constant, upbeat, happy music. You get these cute little rewarding sounds like giggles and boings, and the voice actor is usually a kid, which feels super relatable and not at all threatening. It creates this totally immersive, totally reassuring world. The big takeaway here? Absolutely nothing is left to chance.
All right, let's talk about the part that probably haunts parents in their sleep, the song. You know the one. It's basically the repetitive heartbeat of the whole show. And trust me, it is built with absolute precision to be completely, utterly unforgettable.
So, the first rule is lyrical simplicity. The words aren't just simple, they're basically direct instructions. Things like, helping others feel so good, yes it does. There's zero room for metaphor or subtext. The goal is just crystal clear communication of a positive message. And you might notice they play that song a lot. In a typical 10-minute episode, you'll hear it in full 3 times. And why 3 times? Well, it's not just to be catchy. This intense repetition is actually a core learning strategy for preschoolers. It's designed to literally embed that melody and its message deep, deep into a child's memory.
And here's where it gets really clever. It's a multi-sensory hook. They don't just want kids to hear the song. They want them to see it with bouncing lyrics on the screen. And they want them to do it with characters clapping and jumping along. It moves way beyond just passive listening. It's all about active, physical participation. It gets the whole child involved, not just their ears.
Okay, so we've got the sights and the sounds down. What about the story itself? Well, the narrative follows a super strict, totally predictable formula. This is not the place for plot twists or suspense. It is all about comfort, reliability, and serving up a very gentle lesson.
So check out this 10-minute arc. It's like a perfect little micro story. You meet Whiskers, he plays with friends, and then at minute 3, oh no, a problem. But notice how low stakes this problem is. A ball rolls into a stream. It's introduced and then boom, just over 2 minutes later, it's solved through teamwork. It's all designed to reinforce a feeling of safety and, hey, we can do this.
No scary moments. Everything is positive and encouraging. This quote from the brief? That's it. That is the guiding principle for the entire story. The #1 goal is to create a psychologically safe space where a kid knows without a single doubt that everything is always going to be okay.
And this simple loop you see here is basically the engine of the whole story. You introduce a tiny, relatable problem, a ball's out of reach, so the character feels sad. Then a catalyst, hey, let's help each other. They work together, they succeed, and then reward. Everyone cheers and sings. It's like a perfect little emotional circuit, teaching problem solving in the safest way possible.
Okay, so we've seen the visuals, the sound, the song, the story. Let's put it all together. Why does this formula work so well? Why is it so effective at not just entertaining kids, but totally, completely captivating them? It really comes down to this. The formula works because it lines up perfectly with the developmental stage of a preschooler. It hits all the right notes. It feeds their deep-seated need for things to be predictable. It taps into how they learn through repetition. And it encourages their desire to get up and participate. It's literally giving them exactly what their brains need, in exactly the way they can process it.
And the last piece of the puzzle? There is absolutely no room for subtlety. None. At this age, learning is just most effective when it's direct. So the moral of the story isn't hinted at or left for you to figure out. Nope, it's slapped right on the screen, ensuring that key message gets through loud and clear.
So when you deconstruct this blooper, you really see the incredible amount of thought that goes into every single happy meow and every bouncy movement. It's a powerful, super effective formula. Which really leaves us with a big question, right? Is this a formula for learning, or is it just a formula for holding attention? Is it designed to teach, or is it just designed to be irresistible? The answer is probably a little bit of both.